Hey everyone, this is Rabbity Explorer Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Spotlight Cartoon Corner. So today's Spotlight cartoon we talk about today is X-Men Evolution. And before I get into my thoughts about the show, I would like to remind everyone that new videos will be posted up every Sunday and Monday. If you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that must mean there was a bit of anime news that I wanted to talk about, so those will be considered special videos. So now let's talk about X-Men Evolution. So what the show is all about is that it shows us the X-Men characters as teenagers, and in this world we get to see the X-Men grow up as teenagers and experience teenage problems, while at the same time they have to fight against Magneto and his evil brotherhood of mutants, and deal with the racism and prejudice against their own mutant kind. And that's pretty much the gist of this series. So one of my thoughts about this show, X-Men Evolution, I actually really enjoyed this show. Like, I remember when it first came out, I used to watch the show a lot when it came out, and some of the things I did enjoy about the show was is alternate take on the X-Men characters themselves. Like, even though this is sort of like Muppet Babies and the Flintstone Kids when they make recognizable characters that were adults into like younger kids or into teenagers in this case. This one has a very interesting take on it. Like, it does show the X-Men characters as teenagers, but it also shows them what they would do if they were teenagers. Like, instead of just seeing the X-Men fight all the time, we get to see the X-Men go through regular teenage stuff, like trying to get a date for the prom, or trying to look good for their boyfriends or girlfriends or whichever. And I like that, seeing that side of the X-Men, just seeing like what they would do if they weren't fighting, like what kind of regular activities they would be doing, like going out on dates or going shopping and stuff like that. And we get to see that a lot in this show, seeing what the X-Men characters would do if they're not fighting with the evil mutants in their universe. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the series, and I like the different takes they did with these characters, especially with Rogue and Kitty Pryde. In this universe, we see that Rogue is like much more brooding than she is in the comics. We see her like kind of distance herself from people a lot, and just act very gruff towards people, and which is like the complete opposite for how we see Rogue in the comics, where she's like more like a outgoing person. So I like that different take on Rogue. I think it fits very well with her powers, that she can't touch people because if she does, she's going to suck away their powers or stuff like that. And I like seeing that more darker side of Rogue in this series. And I like the fact that this series introduced us to some X-Men characters that weren't introduced to us before, weren't well portrayed before, like Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler. Like, I don't think Kitty Pryde showed up in the original 1992 X-Men series. She was actually replaced by Jubilee in that series. But yeah, I like how they develop her character a lot in this series. And then Nightcrawler also, even though he showed up here and there in the original 1992 series, he gets more character development in this series. And I like what this show does with a lot of character development. Like, I felt like they developed most of the characters very well, especially Cyclops and Jean Grey. And it never felt like they were like photocopies of the characters from the comics or anything like that. It felt like, yeah, they're going through all these emotions that they're regular, what any normal teenager would go through, and I think this show presents that so well. Now here are some problems I did have with the show. One of the problems that I had with the show was there was a bit of a inconsistent tone between the first two seasons and the last two seasons. Like, I felt like the first two seasons was more like a teenage comedy or something like that. Like, it focused more on the X-Men characters actually getting into these situations that a normal high school would get into, like trying to find a date or going shopping and stuff like that. And then you have the last two seasons, which actually focuses more on what's close to the comics, like with the mutant hatred and Magneto excuse me, with Magneto trying to stop the X-Men at every turn. So I do feel like that there was a bit of a tonal inconsistency between the first two seasons and the last two seasons, and that was a bit of a problem for me. And then another problem I have with the show is that I felt like, even though this is probably one of the best X-Men series that had the best character development, there was still some characters in this show that they didn't quite develop well, especially Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Um, and I was surprised they didn't develop characters like Gambit or Colossus very well, because they were a part of Magneto's brother even Muse for some reason in the series, but they didn't really develop those characters very well. Give us at least some episodes with these characters involving like why they were with Magneto in the first place. I would have liked to see more episodes with Gambit or Colossus, even though they're on the villain side in this series, and see where they're coming from and why they're doing these things. Like Colossus, they kind of explain to us why he's he's doing the things he's doing for Magneto, but I felt like we could have gotten more out of this character. And the same thing with Gambit, also in Pyro to some extent. You know, there were some characters that didn't develop well, and I wish they developed some of those characters better than what we got in the second half of the series. So overall, I really enjoy X-Men Evolution. If you like to see the X-Men characters as teenagers, or you want to see a different take on the X-Men series, I definitely recommend you check out X-Men Evolution. And if you want to get introduced to characters like Kitty Pryde or Nightcrawler or Rogue, this is definitely a series you should check out that will really introduce you to these characters very well. And that's my review on X-Men Evolution. And let me know in the comments below, have you seen X-Men Evolution? And if you have, did you like the show? Did you hate the show? Please let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter so we can keep you updated on any new videos we post up. And also, like our Facebook page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabia's Law of Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Love the wonderful world of animation? Then please feel free to subscribe to this channel to check out more animation news, reviews, and discussions. Thanks for the support, and stay happy, animation fans.